Hello, everyone. My name is Shalita Thorbs, and I did my research project on the origins of tap dance. What is tap dance? Tap dance is defined as the percussive American dance form distinguished by interplay of rhythms and amplification of sound by the feet. Typically, when we see tap dancers, we usually see them, they um, the shoes are a very important part of tap dance. They have metal pieces on the heel and the toe of their shoes so that they are able to make the sound that we hear when they are tap dancing. Um, Dancers are able to make various beats and sounds rhythmically with their heels and their toes as they tap the floor and move around on the dance floor. Um, to make various sounds. Sometimes you'll see them slapping their hands and slapping various parts of their body to also include in the dance. The background of tap dance is known as a fusion between several cultures such as African, Scottish, Irish, and English. It was developed through the interactions between the Irish servants and the West African slaves between the 1600s and the 1800s. Um, Tap dance evolved out of various dances such as the jig, the juba, and the buck and wing. So the Irish influenced tap dance, specifically with the jig. The jig is known as the oldest and most popular uh, and oldest Irish dance form. Like tap dance, jig uses heel and toe sounds while the body remains motionless with the hands at the sides of the body and the waist. They, with the jig, they perform complex and elaborate steps with the legs and the feet. The Irish had a dance called the Irish cake dance, which is also similar to the American cakewalk dance. Dancers competed for cake in this dance, and it's a specific type of Irish jig, and it was performed on Sundays after church. The English influenced tap dance um, with the clog dance, which was a English step dance, and this dance was performed from the knee down and concentrated more on sound, which is very typical and similar to how we know tap dance today. Clog means, I'm going to pronounce this wrong, Gaelic word, which refers to keeping timing of the feet. Um, Clog dancers often wore wooden shoes to make percussive sounds. So you the mill dancers back then, English mill workers back then, typically wore clogs while they were in the factory, and they would, perform these clog dances to pass the time or to keep the time. So English continued on to influence tap dance with the egg dance, um, which was a predecessor to the children's game called hopscotch. So, as we know, hopscotch as we know it, when you're hopping on one leg. Um, so, this dance was performed, you would dance around with eggs on the floor to try not to break them. So, that was what they did. So, the Morris dance, which also is an English dance, was claps, stamps, leaps, and which would consist of claps, stamps, and leaps, and solo jig steps. These people typically wore costumes with metal and bells to make sounds, and they also painted their faces black. Um, they would paint their faces black so that it would help them remain anonymous, which is similar to what we know as blackface in other dances like uh, back then in jazz. So African dance influenced tap dance as well as we kind of know it today. So African dance includes gliding and shuffling and dragging steps. So here, these same dance steps can be seen as a modern dance. African dance is also performed low and crouched down to the ground, like like um, like a hunter, and it's opposite of the European dances that were known back then, which were performed upright. So African dancers were known as performing their dances low to the ground because they wanted to be connected to the earth. Um, and African dances encourage people to be unique and uniqueness and individuality, and much like tap dance today. And African dance influence on tap dance, as we know, jazz today, which is defined by syncopation. See, urine music tended to accent the first and the third beats of music, and African dance tended to accent the off beats, which is the second and the fourth beats, um, which was very important in dance, and which is very important in as we know it now in dance. Um, I found um, that tap dance really does go back pretty far, and it's definitely evolved um, out of various dances. Like I said, the Irish dance and the English dance and Scottish, but it seems to be more mostly influenced through African roots. And that concludes my presentation.